Hey guys, I messaged you previously and completely ignored your advice, so I'd figure I'd try again. Previously, I'd asked you if it'd be better for me to go to a regional airline with the possibility of being based at Boise or go to a fractional. Your advice in episode 112 was to go to the fractional route. There was, of course, a lot of other factors. So with your advice in mind, I'm now flying for a regional based in Boise. In all honesty, though, this wasn't to spite you. The reality is I got shot down by every fractional out there. It's okay. Nonetheless, I once again seek your assistance. As I mentioned in my previous message to you, I am now also flying for the Army Air National Guard. And with that comes certain benefits. We've heard all about the benefits of the Air National Guard, believe me. We know all about that. One of which is tuition assistance. I want to take advantage of this benefit while I can. Essentially, I get $8,000 a year to use towards school training or certificates. Because of the service obligations I would incur, doing any degree-producing training, such as a bachelor's or master's degree, is out of the question. I've narrowed it down to either doing my Seaplane add-on or getting my CFI. Neither of which I plan on using, but both seem fun and will add to my resume to help me stand out. I know I'd have come out of pocket some for the CFI, and I'm willing to do that. If you have any other ideas that help me stand out that I could use this money for, please let me know. I'm also interested in which one you think would be more beneficial to obtain. Some background: currently 35 years old, 950 hours total time, restricted ATP, and rotary helicopter. Thanks again for your help.
Welcome aboard the 21.5 Professional Pilots Podcast.
Rock on. You're on 121.5, the emergency frequency.
It's a show by professional pilots for professional pilots.
I looked back at them and I said, I don't think we're at the right airport. And they go, I don't think we are either.
Each episode, we bring you fascinating conversations with industry experts.
I think I should be a go-to on how to deal with 63, 64-year-old men.
You're going to chase it like a dog chasing a school bus.
But we're not just about the serious stuff. We're here to have fun.
And I like to sit with pilots a lot of times. I always say they're better looking than Tom Cruise.
It's the whole thing.
The 21.5 Professional Pilots Podcast is your destination for everything aviation, whether you're cruising in the flight levels or just starting your journey. Hello, Maxwell. It's time for another episode of the 21.5 show. The show for professional pilots by professional pilots on the road, grinding. I am in Wisconsin, but somehow not at Oshkosh right now.
Dylan Miller, never missing an opportunity to miss an opportunity. Good for you.
Couldn't. We flew over it today, and there was even cloud cover. Like, we couldn't even see it. I was so disappointed.
I love this every year, too.
No, I was the only one. I know. Every year. Can't stop, won't stop. I'm not the only one struggling at Oshkosh, though. Oh, my gosh. I don't know if you have seen what's happened on the internet.
Are you?
This guy, poor guy, was... Oh, my God. This airplane was a little disoriented trying to get in. I guess I've never flown in there, but there's like the Fisk arrival, I guess, because the real popular arrival everyone flies, and it looked like they didn't know where they were supposed to go, and this airplane's wandering around, and they're talking to the approach control, and they're like, "You need to go to a different airport." And somehow he eventually they got him in on a straight in. He lands. And then I don't know exactly what happened in between, but then at some point he decides he's just going to take off on the taxiway, which I believe they had converted into a sidewalk in the wrong direction of traffic.
You can tell it seems like a very nice older gentleman. And yeah the video is just, and everyone's going, oh my God.
He just sends it.
And I guess he went back to Bismarck, North Dakota. He said he had enough. So
that's a rage, as my kids would call that, a rage quit. And then EAA, I don't know if this is true or not, but they marked themselves safe from the airplane. We're happy to report that the airplane has made it back to North Dakota. Order has been restored.
Yeah,
let's have a
on the
great
Fisk
day.
arrival and on the taxiway.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So that was the big talk of the internet this week. But God, we're already... Oh, did you see in other Oshkosh news while we're not there? James, who, if you listened to the last episode, was there. He was driving when he gave flight advice. And then he met the person that he gave the flight advice to.
What? No way.
At Oshkosh. Did you see that fit? Yeah, he sent us the picture of it. Yeah.
I've been flying all day, dude. I don't just do one leg and then hang out for a few days in the hotel like you.
No, I'm sorry. No.
Some of us on the grind train over here.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So, so that was cool. So I'm sure that's just the first of many great stories that'll come out of Oshkosh. Our buddy Brooks at Veris Jet Sales, they've got the DC-3 up there, and then he was texting us about all the stuff he's up to with like private chefs and all sorts of stuff.
I'm going to go on record right now. Are we going to Oshkosh next year?
I would like to.
You're not going to miss an opportunity next year either, are you?
I'll be in the state of Wisconsin probably during it. Yes, I guarantee.
You can't go?
Well, here's the funny thing. So we fly into this small airport every week. It's like the third week of July every year. And they don't even have rental cars. There's no rental cars. There's no Turo. There's nothing. So you're just stuck with whatever vehicles the airport manager can give you. So right now we have the truck that is unable to go faster than 35 miles an hour. Like the airport operations truck. Don't you have some
status at like Hertz or something?
I tried, dude. I've tried. I've called. We're so far out in there. No one will drop a car. No one will do anything. It's hilarious. So, I do plan on maybe doing some airport management work tomorrow. Actually, the other funny thing at this airport, they're doing like a resurfacing and a painting, and the runway, they just grooved it, but they haven't painted it yet. The entire it's like a 5,200 foot strip. There isn't a single mark of paint on the entire runway. It was like landing in a parking lot. It was so weird. We're like coming in. I'm like, I've never done this before. I wish I was wearing the meta glasses for that.
You need to get some training on car theft before you go there next time. Just jack a car out of the parking lot.
Oh my gosh.
I've had enough. Going to Oshkosh.
Maybe there's a listener that can just get me an extra car. I don't know. It's pretty funny. Well, I figure we're in Hayward, Wisconsin. I figure
Wisconsin.
There's got to be some transient airplane like making a fuel stop on their way to Oshkosh. I feel like if I just hung out at the airport,
just hitchhike.
Yeah, and just be like, "Oh, where are you guys headed down on the Fisk arrival
to the show?"
Yeah, there's a guy from North Dakota just transmitting through.
Call him 01 Romeo. He needs a competent right-seater to get it.
Oh, jeez. The blind leading the blind.
It doesn't look that far out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know what your problem is.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. It's an awesome spot. It's just funny. Like, there's just not a lot of...
There's just no rental cars, huh?
No rental cars, but that's okay. We can overcome that. But
the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame is there, turns out.
Dude, the gigantic muskie statue. I'll send you a picture. I'll post a picture for you.
What are you doing?
It's insane.
So are we going to go to Oshkosh next year?
I really want to, yes. I think we should.
Why can't you commit?
I'll explain mine. We have an annual trip that I do for work every year during this week in Wisconsin.
To come? What if I come extract you from Hamilton, Wisconsin? Where did you say you were?
Hayward. And then
Hayward, Wisconsin.
You've got an issue too where your birthday and your wife's birthday, which you share the same day, is always during Oshkosh also. So it's a tricky.
But I've been to Oshkosh since I've had this wife, so
good.
That's not an insurmountable problem on my end.
Okay, good. Glad to hear it.
You can bring I'll let you wear your swim shirt hoodie you love so much, and your Birkenstocks with socks, the whole thing, and then we can go. You can be protected.
You know what? I was so insulted after that last gear review interrupt that I went and bought something that actually for pilots that for me and for you to use in a gear review. Because I was so put off.
Are you going to give it to me?
Yeah, I'm going to give it to you next time I see you on your on Sunday. There are the foam ear tips for the Bose Pro Flights. The same made by the same people that make the Clarity Aloft.
Ooh.
Foam tips, the Complies. I was reading online that you can rig it onto a Pro Flight, a different model, and it came with 3 pairs, so I'm going to give you a pair. And
that's interesting because I think my ear canals are squarely between the small and the medium because I can't get the perfect fit I'm looking for. So
so we're going to try these.
I look forward to this. All right, yeah, good. Everyone's on the edge of their seats, so
yeah. So we'll redeem myself with another gear review. Another funny story from flying this week. So yesterday I'm flying into Chicago, into Midway, and right behind me on the arrival is Southwest 3900, who I hear the first time, and I'm like, I looked at the guy I was flying with. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's max. And then 2 more calls, and I was like, yeah, that is 1,000% max for sure. But I was flying, so I was.
Could you tell by the enthusiasm in my voice?
I wish I could have recorded it because you sounded like you were on the last leg of the day.
Did it kind of sound like my alarm went off that morning at 3 a.m.?
Yeah.
So I could make the 5:15 a.m. flight, which is like one of the earliest. I think 5:15 is the earliest flight time, of which we have several, like to Denver or someone. But because they took off in front of us, I'm like, where's that guy going? Like, how'd they take off before us? And so I had to get up at 3 o'clock to leave the house by 3:45 for a 4:15 sign-in for a 5:15 departure.
You can make a 4:15 sign-in by leaving your house at 3:45?
Yeah.
Just for signing in, is it like an American Eagle where you have to actually go to a computer?
No, you do it on your phone, and you have to be on the airport property. So when I'm rolling into the parking lot is when I check in.
You can sign in? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Remember at Eagle where you had to like find a connected computer, like a special terminal that was like
running around like a chicken. Change decks.
Yeah, you're like trying to find a terminal where you could sign into. There were only certain ones.
Yeah.
Jeez. Lots changed.
Mm-hmm.
A lot has changed.
So needless to say, I didn't realize it was you, and I know your tail number. Like I see it all the time because I fly out of the same hangar.
I thought for sure you would have. I was waiting for you to shout out.
I was tired, and I was tired. That's it. I mean, I was just like, I was over that day. So, and I still had a deadhead somewhere, and I just wanted to get on a deadhead so I could go to sleep because I was just tired.
Enough.
That's it. Did I sound tired?
You sounded exhausted. It was funny because your flight number was 3,900, and it was like you say Southwest starting. You would just wouldn't even finish the 3,900. I was like, oh, this is the long. Then I got excited because I'm like, oh, you're going to be overnighting where I'm overnighting, and we could go out. And nope, wasn't the case.
Typical reassignment. I got done too early on the first day. It's one leg. I get done at 10 a.m. in St. Louis, and it's supposed to be, and then. This happened twice in a row this month too, and then they find something else for me to do, which is fine. Like if I'm at work, I don't really need to be sitting by the pool at the hotel in St. Louis on a Wednesday. So if they're going to send me to work and pay me premium, that's fine. But
you'll do the work.
Well, the best part is because the second day of this trip is a grinder, and it's like the long day, and it's pretty rough. And so every time they screw up the second day, so it drops half of that day, and then I actually have to do 2. Yeah, so it ends up working out pretty good. But
worked out pretty good. Well, that was cool. What were the odds that you and I were going to fly into a random airport in the US?
I know. Well, that was even on a reassignment too. Like, that
was cool.
That was crazy. I wish I could have gone with you to the Korean barbecue place, but
next time, yeah.
Instead, I had to go have a beer with my friend at Morgan Wallen in downtown Nashville.
It's okay. We're the bachelor parties.
Bar. He wasn't there.
He wasn't there. No, he's busy.
But it was his bar anyway. It was kind of like having a beer with him, sort of.
Yeah, a very expensive beer, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
if I know Nashville,
it's very expensive at Morgan Wallen's bar.
If I know Nash, where did I? Oh, I went to the Blake Shelton's new bar in Vegas. The old Red. He has an old Red.
Old Red.
Yeah, and the one in Vegas. It was hilarious. I was just.
Why do they all need a bar in that? It's so dumb now.
Yeah.
It's just like another cool town that now is just kind of gotten ruined. It's just too extra.
A lot of great place to go for people watching.
Nash Vegas.
Yeah, exactly.
Want to tell everyone about your favorite bar there? With the spinning wheel? Or?
Yeah, so many great bars. Yeah, go to Doc Holidays. Go check it out sometime. You'll have a good time. Love it. Your mom loves that place too. Tootsie's. Go to Tootsie's.
Oh yeah, because that's the old school place.
Anyways, enough about.
All right, enough reminiscing about Nashville. What do we got here? Let's get to work.
We got to get to work. You teased your backcountry trip to Idaho last time. Any more updates? Any news?
Just doing some more planning today.
Okay.
No, I talked to Sean, who's kind of leading this expedition because he's been there a couple times. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what's the itinerary? He's like, what do you mean? We leave in the morning on the 20th. I'm like, well, yeah, I know that. I mean, like, what are we doing each day? Where are we going? Are we just doing the? And so he told us some of the spots we're going to. I found out what the 2 airports we're going to land at, and then we're going to raft to the second one. Just nothing real earth shattering, honestly. Just kind of more looking around on ForeFlight and reading I got the Idaho, Fly Idaho. It's like the backcountry dude. So listen to this. This
Okay.
dude who went out there and like kind of discovered this, because initially the Idaho backcountry, all these airports was kind of like the secret, like it's like, shh, don't tell anybody because we don't want it to get ruined, right? Well, then because a lot of them are in a wilderness area, which is on an exemption, which I explained before, right? They're grandfathered in. Well, then the Forest Service is like, these airships aren't being used enough. Like, what are we maintaining them for? So maybe we should start shutting them down. So then they started shutting them down. Everyone's like, no, we gotta. So then they got the word out to get more people not only to use it, but then to have like activism to keep them open, right? So people were going there and they started, people were crashing and stuff because there's no like, a lot of these airports, it's one way in, one way out. Like there's certain things you need to know. The slope on the runway is pretty extreme or has a curve. There's just certain things you need to know. So this dude went out there with his golden retriever and survey equipment, flew to all of these airports, surveyed, with a measuring wheel, measured them, surveyed the elevation of each end, calculated the gradient, and has a write-up and pictures and everything. So he made this whole book called Fly Idaho. And it's like the Bible of these airports. And he has another one called Fly Utah too. And he's since passed away and his son is trying to keep it up, I guess. But, so anyway, you can look through that and kind of like prepare, just, kind of see what you're in for on these certain airships and which way you approach. And then I'm reading this other book, like there's a lot that goes into it. It's kind of interesting, about how like the wind changes with the direction of the rivers flowing and like, where the updrafts are on the shaded side of the canyon. Like and how to cross ridge lines at an angle. So that way, if you can turn away if you get a big downdraft. It's kind of a lot to know, I think, if you're going to do it right. So I'm spending my time trying to absorb all available resources.
I love it.
That is all.
I had a question for you. Shifting gears, a question for you. We used to make fun of all the airline captains that fly with the old guys for like, all they do is talk about their boats and they don't listen to you and everything else. I was just curious, like, what has been your experience recently? Like, anything changed, or have you noticed there had been a shift? Because we're starting to see like a new generation of captain, right? Like it's more like the Gen X pilots now. And I was just curious if you're starting to see any difference.
No, we don't. I feel like we don't have a lot of those guys at Southwest. We there's some, but by and large, everyone's really, dude. Like I've been hanging out with the captain I'm flying on this trip, and he's like 60 something, 61, or I think he is. So he's not like a new captain. I mean, he's been around, and yeah, I've been hanging out with him this whole trip. Like we got a dinner both nights, and we've been having a good time. So I don't know. I mean, most of the, I haven't had that so much where it's like everyone's cool. I really don't have a lot to complain about. Honestly, everyone's really usually pretty cool. But even the guys, I feel like the guys that people complain about, I don't think are that bad. Maybe I'm actually kind of tolerant. I don't know.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm glad to hear that because it's funny because there's so many times that I have all these negative stereotypes in my head from the airlines, and you keep being like, it's not like it used to be. And I think that's another one of them, like it's just stuck in my head of like all these captains, and none of them are interesting. And I know that's not the case. I know,
and you think it would be worse after like the raises everyone's gotten and stuff, but
yeah.
No, I mean, everyone's got stuff and they like, some invariably talk about it, but like, so do I. So it's kind of everybody, we're just kind of talking about what we're into and our hobbies, and I don't know. So no, it's good vibe.
So we're struggling with internet right now a little bit on this recording, but I don't know if you saw who else is struggling with internet today. Starlink. Did you see this?
No.
So it's so funny. This morning, my parents live in the small coastal town in Oregon, and there's just no good internet options there. And for the past few years, I've been like, Dad, just buy Starlink, like, please. So finally, he sends us a picture of the Starlink box today. I'm like, oh, cool. And he gets it all set up. Meanwhile, I'm flying today, and our internet stops working. Our Starlink stops working. And we land, and I'm like, God, is this dish smoked? Like, is our antenna not working? Like, what's going on? I'm not going to be able to find one out here. And nope, turns out Starlink like had some major software problem on the back end, and the whole system went down today.
No way.
On the first day that my dad gets Starlink. So yeah, I was like, that's funny, but I think it's back up now. But I'll be curious to see. I mean, it was bad. Like Elon was tweeting about it. There was a recent outage. Let's see the latest. 2.5 hours due to key internal software services. Network mostly recovered by 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Elon apologized, promised to address the root cause. So now they have over 6 million customers. So it's gonna be a problem. So, and everybody's all in on putting it on their planes now. So I mean, there's always outages, I guess, from every provider, but I think this is the first like kind of main big outage I've heard on Starlink. So
yeah, me too.
what is the system that Southwest uses? It's pretty good. Do you know?
Viasat.
Is it Viasat or something?
I don't know. It's not my department, but yeah, it's Viasat or whatever. The new they've upgraded the hardware and the rips on the new ones are pretty good. So listen, also remember our boy Greg from AeroShields that sent us all that stuff, and then as soon as we talked about his stuff on the show, then we started getting emails like, "Hey, we keep our listeners like, I can't get into his website." Well, and his poor guy's website crashed like right after we talked about it. So anyway, it ended up being a big thing, but he's back. It's all back online, and the Pilot Armor sunshades can be had at pilotarmor.com. So just wanted to throw that back out there for poor Greg.
It was funny because I was in the cockpit today. It was super hot, and I was going to take another video because I've been using them for like 3 months, and still really like them. I don't know if are you still using them
today,
in
all the way across the country?
G280?
Huh?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, and the 280 and 73. I use them in 73 today.
737. I mean, yeah, I just love the fact that you can see out of them. That's the game changer. So shout out to Greg. All right. Well, anything else, Maxwell?
I don't think so. Let's get to the listener interaction.
Let's take a quick break to tell you about a friend of the show, Timothy P. Pope. Tim is a certified financial planner who specializes in helping professional pilots chart a smarter financial course. Whether you're focused on retirement, investment management, or strategic tax planning, Tim brings the tools and insight to help you make the most of your career and beyond. He's also the host of the Pilot's Portfolio podcast, where he breaks down real-world financial strategies designed specifically for pilots. Timothy P. Pope, helping professional pilots make the most out of life.
Let's get to the meat of the show. All right. Some great reviews and comments today. We've got some good YouTube comments. I've got another Reggie ad read. Some people really enjoyed the Reggie ad reads, so we'll have to get to that. So let's
snide British accent his.
That's right. All right. Reviews today are coming in on Apple Podcasts. We love the reviews. If you write us a review, we'll shoot you some stickers. Just send us an email, info@215podcast.com with your mailing address. First one says, Aces up. Hey, Daddy-O. Let me turn you on to one of the grooviest radio programs anywhere on the dial. I mean, it's the bee's knees. Normally, it's tough to razz my berries, but I always pick up what these hip cats are laying down, whether they're talking the Connie into Orchard Field or comparing the Lear 23 to the Jetstar. It's even copacetic when scheduling makes me drive the Chariot from Idlewild to Glen Curtis to work the panel in the Stratoliner. I burn rubber in the drop top while Dylan and Max spill the beans about Braniff TWA and the CAB. Aviation is a crapshoot, so you better tune me in and get my signal right. The 21.5 show is your ace in the hole. Your career is made in the shade and the cabbage will come rolling in. Use your noggin, beat feet out of Squaresville and mash that subscribe button. Someday your grandson will say it slaps. Now Amscray. And that's from Won't Make Me Push. It's pretty good.
All right, YouTube. from F97 Russell. I had the honor to meet and chat with Colonel Bashong when I visited the 390th Museum in 2007. It's not often I'm awestruck, but I was that day. I understand fully.
Yes. Absolutely. Next comment is from FXTail125. Says the ACE guide is so incredible. It absolutely is. And I know for those of you keeping track, we were supposed to be having our CFI renewal already done with Seth, but sadly, life of a corporate pilot did not, the timing did not work out. So we had to push that back a couple months, which might be good because I've sweated enough in airplanes this week. I don't know that I'm ready to sweat in the 150 in July. So in the fall will be good. Okay, that's going to do it for the comments. As always, we appreciate all of the listener feedback. Here we go with the mailbag, which is, of course, brought to you by our friends at Advanced Aircrew Academy. Take it away, Reg.
This episode is brought to you by Advanced Aircrew Academy, and today's featured training module is bird strike avoidance, because nobody wants to turn their jet into an avian blender. This module teaches you how to spot, avoid and mitigate the risk of feathered projectiles without turning every flock into a mayday call. From understanding migration patterns to what to do when a goose decides to test your engine's snack capacity, Advanced Aircrew Academy covers it all with pilot-friendly content that actually sticks. And for flight department managers, their online platform handles all the scheduling, tracking and compliance reporting faster than a falcon diving on an unsuspecting rabbit. So keep your airplane bird-free and your logbook incident-free. Visit aircrewacademy.com today. Advanced Aircrew Academy, training that won't ruffle your feathers.
He's better than we are.
Pretty good, I guess.
That's it. It's another job that AI has snatched out from under our nose. The ad reads. He's good.
That's it. We're done. Thank you, Reggie. That was a good one. I never knew a bird strike ad read could be so captivating. Sheesh. All right. On to the mailbag. Hello there, Dylan and Max. My name is Tashawn, and I'm a new listener to your amazing podcast from the Midwest out of Indiana. I've been diving deep into aviation and soaking up every ounce of information I can about this industry since my discovery flight back in May of this year. I've had an affinity for aviation, space exploration, military aircraft, etc. I'm currently a truck driver and have been for the past 8 years, 6 years in the Army and 3 on the civilian side. I plan on using my GI Bill to gain my degree and all of my flight ratings. I will be attending IWU and enrolled in their Accelerated Associate's degree program and taking my flight lessons out of Sweet Aviation, a local flight school in the area. I've listened to a few of your podcasts and have heard Max talk very briefly about flying business aviation and also about being a pilot at a major airline. I'm 30 years old and engaged to my beautiful fiance and expecting our second child together. Family is very important to me, but I want to make sure I'm not gone for too long. I love the adventure schedule, networking opportunities, and other business opportunities and challenges that I hear from you guys on the business side. I also like the stability of the airlines and the predictability and structure of the airlines. My question is it possible to do both? And if so, how? I currently work at Air Products and Chemicals Incorporated, and after some research found out that there is a flight department there. Unfortunately, after making contact with the head of the flight department, I was notified the doors were closed to the department in March of this year. I thought for sure I knew I wanted to go corporate until I heard Max discussing being both. I am still very early on in my aviation journey. I will be attending classes in October to kick it off. Am I too early to even think about making a definitive decision? And that's from Tashawn.
Yes, it's a little early to consider a way to do both. And it's not common. That being said, I'm not the only one, for sure. And so I would think that you kind of need to be a corporate pilot before you or an airline pilot if you want to attempt to do both. And typically, it's flying some as an independent contractor on an airplane you have experience in the business aviation arena. So I would focus on that, get your experience, get some flight time in business aviation, and then see what. But again, it's pretty early. I will tell you, it's great. You get the best of both worlds, but you also get the worst of both worlds at the same time. So it can be very rewarding and very fun, but also extraordinarily challenging at the same time. So I don't ever want to make it sound like it's all roses, because it is not. It is sometimes it is very challenging, but I still do it. So it works for me. It doesn't work for everybody else. So I would focus, just one step at a time, but keep that in the back of your brain as you move through your own journey in aviation and see where things end up.
Yep. My advice, on top of yours, is aviation just takes so many weird twists and turns. I think at the stage you're at now, I would just focus on your training, getting your certificates, get through the program. It's kind of like one of those things, if you make a bunch of plans, like I can tell you where Max and I are both at now in our careers, we didn't think that that's where we'd be when we were in flight school,
No,
like
not even
the twists and the turns and kind of the different directions we did.
And the things that you have no control over.
There's just a lot that you're not going to have control over in this industry. So I think you focus on your training right now, and then the rest will reveal itself. But good to have aspirations on what you want to do as well. So keep listening to the show. We like to interview pilots that do all sorts of different types of jobs. So we've had firefighting pilots on, we've had medevac pilots on, we've had cargo pilots, so there's all sorts of different things that you could do. And good luck in your training. Keep us posted on how it goes. Next email.
Hi guys, just listen to the latest episode. Regarding not reporting leaving assigned altitude when cleared to descend via, here's my take. Let's say you're level at 330. You are cleared to descend and maintain 240 for track, then cleared to descend via the arrival. You would report leaving 330 since that is the current instruction. Then you must subsequently report leaving 240. Why? Because your new cleared altitude is the lowest altitude published on the arrival. You are cleared to the lowest altitude only, nothing below that until given a lower altitude by ATC. Agree? Disagree? Tailwinds from Keith. I don't think I would report. Yeah, I don't think I'd be subsequent.
All right, I'm processing this. And you must subsequently report leaving flight level 240. Why?
But why would you report leaving 330 if you're cleared to descend and maintain 240 for traffic? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Am I reading that wrong? He says you would report leaving 330 since that's the current instruction. Then you must subsequent. So I think he's saying you go to 330, descend to 240, right? You're level 240, then say, okay, descend via the arrival, right? So I don't think you would ever report leaving 330. And then you're at 240 and they say descend via the arrival. And then he's advocating for reporting leaving 240 then, which.
Well, no, they're giving the clearance all at once when you're at 33. They're at 33. They say descend now to 240.
Okay, so he's just saying there's an intermediate level off at 240, and he's reporting leaving that as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Which I think we determined that was not necessary, that it wasn't very implicit either way, right?
Yeah. I don't think there's nothing wrong with doing that. But I think it's an interesting scenario that he's thought up where you're in an intermediate altitude. I think what he's done is engineered a scenario that meets the letter of the instruction.
But I remember we tore it apart, dude, and like there is no letter of like there's no clear cut and defined rule on it. Like from the controller perspective or from the pilot perspective, when you look at the controlling documents, like, I would say this. In practice, nobody reports leaving, and I think it would be weird if you did all the time. So, you know,
it's not gonna cause any harm if you
you're not
really
supposed
want
to
to
speed when you're on the freeway, but you're supposed to go with the flow of traffic. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly. Next email. This is from Michael. Dylan and Max, I like to think I have one of those commutes where it's not so bad. I'm in DFW and work for the Widget, the only airline that doesn't have a Texas base. Austin based by 2030. Keep the rumor going. On paper, that sounds like a horrible idea, but hear me out. DFW is in the central part of the U.S. Why is this relevant, you may ask? The company I work for has bases in NYC, LAX, Seattle, Boston, Atlanta, Minneapolis, Detroit, and Salt Lake City. With DFW being in the center of the United States and my airline having multiple flights a day to each of these hubs, it really isn't a bad place to commute out of, especially when you have many other airlines servicing the same routes. I have lots of options, sometimes 10, 12, or even 18 flights a day to certain airports. We can also book our jump seats first come, first serve, which is nice, and usually if we can't do that, we get positive space on our second attempt if it's on company metal. It offers great flexibility. For example, if I wanted to fly a certain airplane, fly at a certain base, or even change bases for better seniority, commuting from DFW allows for that. I've acted upon this flexibility in the past as I've swapped bases for far better seniority than in other bases. Now I'm even considering changing fleet types and commuting to NYC to try wide body. I have friends that live in DFW and commute to certain other aircraft at our company that predominantly have overnights in DFW, allowing them to be home. Another cool thing is the ability to pick up premium trips that start and end with deadheads. Since DFW has service to all the hubs my company has, people usually can deviate their deadheads to these different hubs and pretty much positive space commute because it's a deadhead for broken pairings that come up for premium flying, since we can rebook a deadhead to any flight we want. It is still commuting though, and commuting is what you make of it. Yes, I'm spending more time away from home than I would have if I was living in base. Yes, I'm limiting myself to trips that are only commutable and could be missing out on flying to some cool destinations since these trips end late or start early. We all have our reasons to commute. Mine is close proximity to my in-laws since we're about to start trying to have a family. Having that support for my wife is a huge benefit, and we think it outweighs moving to a base and living on our own with no support.
He makes some good points, but I still have a question.
Yeah, there's a lot more to this email, but I'm going to clip it there.
Why would you not have just worked at American? Like, you've had the choice. Like, I'm just curious. You must have a good reason. But if you, I can't think of a better place. I'm a big advocate for living in base, right? But living in base is living in the headquarters base of the airline, like where training is done. Like, you don't even have to go to training. Like, you can come home. But like, if you live there, like I don't, maybe he wanted to work for Delta. That's where his dad worked. Who knows, right? But still, like, why would you not have worked at American? That's what I want to know. What was so compelling that you would work for another airline when you live in the, headquarters of the airline?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like and I say that, and not Southwest, because it's, there's wide bodies. Maybe he wanted wide body flying. Like, I'm trying to put those are close airlines, a similar route structure, yada, yada, yada. So why would you not work for American? Please write back. I have to know now that we've opened this can. I'm just curious. Aren't you curious? Is it just me?
Yeah. I mean, what's the scenario? I mean, yes, if you got hired 2 years ago when everybody was hiring, yes. Again, like you said, there could be other factors, like we talked about with James on the last episode.
Yeah, I know, but I'm curious specifically if we're talking it to a real person right now. Like, what was the reason? I'm dying to know.
Mike, you'll have to let us know. You will have to let us know. But yeah, I do think especially DFW in particular, because it's so central to everywhere. That is an interesting strategy because, as you know, and I think we both did this at the airlines, there are some times where you can cut the line and have a better life if you're willing to commute to a different base because you can be, more senior. So that's an interesting little maneuver there. And I do like that part, but there's no light at the end of the tunnel, I guess, for me on that.
Yeah.
But I do think DFW, I can't even think of another city that would be as comparable to DFW. Maybe Chicago, I guess.
Yeah, that's the only one I could think of.
It'd be DFW or Chicago would be the two cities where you could kind of pull that off, where you're just very centrally located.
Right.
So, good email. Really good email. Great. This is exactly what we wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect. Next email, Max. Go ahead.
All right. Dylan and Max, I was listening to episode 173 and appreciated the discussion about staying ahead of the airplane, especially when you referenced the recent San Diego accident. For lower time pilots, there's definitely a phase where the balance between skill and confidence gets out of whack. When I was a lower time pilot, I stepped up from a Cessna 150 to a Turbo Lance to serve as the family truckster. To bridge that gap, I made the decision to train with a seasoned CFI who had real-world flying experience. That choice made a huge difference. The increase in speed, the retractable gear, the constant speed prop, and all the sea-level performance from the Turbo It was a massive leap. I still remember a training flight where he had me do a valley rally around Phoenix using just one radio. His message was clear. The airplane can fly at 90 knots or 150 knots. Slow down. Create some time and space and always fly the airplane. On a different note, a few years ago, my wife got her pilot's license. It all started when she took a few lessons to learn how to land in case something ever happened to me. After a few flights, she said, if I'm learning the hardest part, I may as well get my license. How awesome is that now that I have a designated pilot? When she crossed the 250-hour mark, I gave her a copy of The Killing Zone. I'm sure you guys have heard of it, but I always recommend it to pilots in that 200 to 350-hour window. It does a great job of highlighting the mindset traps and decision-making pitfalls that tend to show up right around that time. Anyway, long-winded way of saying keep up the good work, and thanks for putting out such a great podcast.
Oh, that's from our buddy Gear. That's a really good email. I've never heard of this book. Have you?
Mm-mm. I'll have to put it on the list, though.
So we'll have a link in the show notes to that. But that's survival guide for new pilots identifies the pitfalls waiting inside the killing zone, the period from 50 to 350 hours when they leave their instructors behind and fly as pilot in command for the first time.
Wow. Huh. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you, Gear. That's going to be worth reading for sure. I remember that. Do you remember at that point where it's probably about 300 hours where you kind of really feel like, oh, I know everything there is. I feel like at Riddle at some point I was like, oh, I've got it. I know it all here at this point. Meanwhile, I've never flown away from Prescott, never without an instructor. Somehow think you're just like got everything on lockdown. It's just like
knew everything there was to know about flying in the 50-mile radius of the airport.
Yeah,
at that
exactly. Locked in. Last email. Hello, folks. I recently listened to your episode 175. I heard you both weigh in on whether someone should consider signing a contract for ATP CTP with a 91-135 operator, even if their goal is to get to 121 operations. Okay, this was for the pilot. This is a sidebar. This was for the pilot that wanted, if he stayed in 135, was going to get upgraded to PIC, but would have to sign a contract to do it. I wanted to add my 2 cents to the topic for what it's worth. Hopefully this can help someone somewhere someday. Some things to consider. Some operators are not going to give you the time of day if you tell them you're hesitant to sign any contract because of your ultimate goal is to get to the airlines. So it may be best to choose your communications carefully, and who knows, maybe you'll find you love the charter/corporate world and want to stay put. Number 2, yes, I definitely look to see if the contract is prorated, as this can make your decision much easier. However, even if it's not, you may still want to highly consider taking the opportunity, as it can boost your chances of standing out from other applicants and possibly result in you getting to the airlines sooner. And the sooner you get to the airlines, the sooner you'll be able to pay for whatever bill you accrued to get there. So even if it's not prorated, I definitely still consider it as breaking the contract when the airlines call your number and owing the full amount may very much still be worth it. Number 3, in today's market, I personally advise friends to strongly consider getting a 135 position, sometimes contract be damned. Why? We have no idea when the airline hiring will pick back up. You may very well fulfill your contractual obligation before they do, but we can reasonably assume it's going to be competitive when it does. Having 135 experience gives you exposure to many skills someone who stayed with something like instructing may not possess. CRM, possibly working with passengers, possibly working flight attendants, possibly working with a dispatch or flight following, and likely operating a more complex aircraft. These are all very translatable and valuable skills when it comes to having a goal of going to the airlines. TLDR, don't let a contract scare you away from accepting 135 position. You might end up finding a new goal, or it might help you get to the airlines faster. 2 cents deposited, and that's from Justin.
Good points.
I don't think I disagree with anything he said.
No, I don't either. I mean,
good.
Like aviation is unpredictable, man. You never know. So,
yeah. I think signing a contract for a year right now, I wouldn't be too worried about it. All right. That is going to do it for the mailbag. Thanks to Advanced Aircrew Academy for their longtime support of the mailbag segment. On to flight advice, which is, of course, brought to you by our friends at Harvey Watt, which is the largest provider of loss of medical insurance for professional pilots around the globe. Over 70,000 pilots trust Harvey Watt to protect that white piece of paper. I just got mine a couple days ago, that white piece of paper that I folded so carefully into my document holder. Something printed on something so cheap and simple. So important to what we do. Make sure you and your family are protected. HarveyWatt.com to check out all of the offerings they have for professional pilots. All right, up to flight advice. You're gonna like this one, Max. It has to do with spending money. Someone's asking you how to spend money.
Perfect. I'm your guy.
You should come up with a lot of thoughts on this. Okay. Hey guys, I messaged you previously and completely ignored your advice, so I'd figure I'd try again. Previously, I'd asked you if it'd be better for me to go to a regional airline with the possibility of being based at Boise or go to a fractional. Your advice in episode 112 was to go to the fractional route. There was, of course, a lot of other factors. So with your advice in mind, I'm now flying for a regional based in Boise. In all honesty, though, this wasn't to spite you. The reality is I got shot down by every fractional out there. It's okay. Nonetheless, I once again seek your assistance. As I mentioned in my previous message to you, I am now also flying for the Army Air National Guard. And with that comes certain benefits. We've heard all about the benefits of the Air National Guard, believe me. We know all about that. One of which is tuition assistance. I want to take advantage of this benefit while I can. Essentially, I get $8,000 a year to use towards school training or certificates. Because of the service obligations I would incur, doing any degree producing training, such as a bachelor's or master's degree, is out of the question. I've narrowed it down to either doing my Seaplane add-on or getting my CFI. Neither of which I plan on using, but both seem fun and will add to my resume to help me stand out. I know I'd have come out of pocket some for the CFI, and I'm willing to do that. If you have any other ideas that help me stand out that I could use this money for, please let me know. I'm also interested in which one you think would be more beneficial to obtain. Some background: currently 35 years old, 950 hours total time, restricted ATP, and a rotary helicopter. Thanks again for your help. $8,000 to spend.
All right. So,
First of all, do you agree with his two choices of Seaplane or CFI?
It's not what I would do.
Yeah, I agree. That's not what I would do.
Here's what he lives in Boise, dude. He is on the precipice of all of the, backcountry mecca there of Idaho. So what I would do is get in your car and drive to McCall and go to the McCall Mountain Canyon flying, and go do backcountry flying with those guys who are some of the best in the business. And you could blow $8,000 pretty quick, seeing some of the incredible stuff that's in the state you live in, literally right up the road. So, but any of those things is going to be great. Anything you can do to broaden your horizons in aviation, and you have, the money, you should certainly use it and not lose it. And the CFI would be great. We've both talked about how much benefit we've got from that. Even just getting your CFI and learning how to teach something always makes you better at your craft. Mm-hmm. And flying a seaplane too. Just anything you do different always makes you better. And anything to broaden your horizons. But that being said, I would do that.
You do the
backcountry flying. Yeah, the mountain flying.
That's funny, because when I read it, that was the first thing I was like, I know what Max is going to say here.
Am I that predictable?
Yeah, well, I mean, just because that's exactly what I would do too. And I don't know exactly if that would count or if it has to be. The only thing, it says school training or certificate. So assuming that counts, that would be something that I would think would count. But here's the thing with the CFI. It's going to be pretty tough. It takes a lot of work and a lot of time. And if you're not planning on using it, like I would wonder if you would, and you got to come out of pocket. Like, do you think you'd actually complete it? I mean, you're already flying in the reserves and you're flying into regional. Like, that's a lot. And you might be a go-getter and maybe that's not a problem. But to me, that would be a lot on my plate. And CFI at times will get tough, and I would just wonder if at some point you'd just be like, yeah, is this even really worth my time? So, and I feel like the seaplane you do in a weekend, right?
Yeah.
So, right. CFI, you're signing up for probably a 6-month commitment at least. So
let us know what you decide.
I like the idea. I was trying. Yeah. I had a couple other ideas. Let me run these by you. If the mountain flying doesn't sound interesting, what about glider flying? That could be interesting. It would teach you a little bit about aerodynamics and maybe a kind of a different perspective. Plus, I feel like $8,000 would, I don't know a ton about glider flying, but I feel like that would get you pretty far. So that could be an interesting avenue to explore. Other professional development you could take is possibly some training at the training centers, like flight safety. They have like specialty courses, like a go, no-go course. Or some type of simulator-based training you could do. That might be interesting. And that might set you apart a little bit. And then the last thing I was thinking, and I don't know if this is still the case, remember when Southwest required the 737 type rating to even get it? Was it to get an interview or to get hired? I know there used to be places where
you had to have it to get the interview, and then they said, "Oh, now you have to have it just to get hired," and then obviously you don't need it anymore. So,
yeah, I know there used to be places where you could go get a 737 type for about that price.
Yeah, that's not a bad
option.
If
you could get a 737 type for $8,000, do you think that would be good? I don't know.
I think so. I mean, any of that stuff is good. Is it like going to change the trajectory of your career or whatever? No, but it's just, it's personal development.
Yeah.
And what I would do too is like, do what sounds the most interesting to you and that you're going to have the most fun learning how to do. Because that's, it's things you learn that are more fun, you always get more out of, I feel like. So,
yeah. I feel like the way this changes the trajectory of your career is you look and see what's fun, you get into it, and maybe it's seaplaning or backcountry flying or whatever it is, and then you start doing that, and then all of a sudden you start meeting and networking with people that also do it, and oh, by the way, oh, he's the chief pilot here, or oh, this guy, let me write your letter of recommendation at Frontier, or like whatever, like that's honestly probably what will happen, is like you being into getting that, using that money to get you into something that you're already interested in will broaden your outside the cockpit experience to meet people also doing the same thing that could open some doors for you. So,
yeah, that's a great point.
Spending other people's money. I don't know. And worst case, Matt, we'll figure out a way. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, let us know what you decide.
Max, could you do a special $8,000 course in your Carbon Cub?
I could come up with something. Yep.
Yeah.
Arizona backcountry flying course of all of the
Arizona. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We'll get you flower bombing certified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could do a day of flower bombing, all kinds of things.
We'll take care of you. We got this.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. All right, that is going to do it for flight advice. If you have a quandary for us, you can visit our website, 215podcast.com, and fill out the anonymous form, and we'll be happy to assist you with your problem. I like this problem. This is a great problem. I think that's going to do it. We've been battling today. We're fighting. Starlink's down. Our internet, hotel internet's down. The
struggle's real.
Yeah, but let's take a quick moment to recognize all of our sponsors. Make this show possible. Timothy P. Pope, financial advisor for professional pilots throughout the country. Advanced Aircrew Academy. Harvey Watt. Veris Jet Sales and their big fancy parties at Oshkosh, the Air Comp Calculator, and our friends at Pro Pilot World, who always have the most interesting discussions. I was just on there today, actually. That's where I found the links to that Oshkosh guy. Anytime there's an issue, that's the best place to go. Oh, right now on Pro Pilot World, there's a big discussion. There's discussions on Hulk Hogan and, do you see the latest? Chuck Mangione.
Dude, we've lost
who that is?
Theo from the Huxtable, from the Cosby Show. He drowned. We lost Ozzy Osbourne.
They always come in threes, yeah.
The guy I was flying with today. Ozzy. Now the Hulk?
It's unbelievable.
God, who's next? It's unbelievable.
I know. It's unbelievable. Yeah. It's terrible. Hopefully that's it. All right. That is going to do it for this episode. Until next week, remember,
flexibility is key to air power. See you next time.
the statements made in this show are our own opinions and do not reflect, nor were they under any direction from any of our employers.